know if I auditioned for John Hughes or some other director recommended me. I think I auditioned for John Hughes because I was in three John Hughes movies, two that he wrote and directed, and one that Christopher Columbus directed. Chris Columbus directed Home Alone. Home Alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was handed down to Chris Columbus from John Hughes, and Clint Eastwood handed me to another director for another very obscure movie where it was about a mouse man, about a kid who grew up disfigured, but his disfigurement made him look like a mouse, his face like a mouse. It was supposed to be a comedy about a kid who looked like a mouse, but it never went anywhere. But I was, I don't know. But anyway, that's so Home Alone. Wait a minute. Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. I auditioned for John Hughes. You're asking me questions that I've never had before. I have to think this out.
So here's what I really want to know is when you were shooting that scene, how long did it take to shoot that? And were you actually driving that car or were you like on one of them trailer things?
No. Oh, that's interesting. Why? Where did you get that question? Did you hear that from somebody?
I'm a big fan of the movie,
okay.
man. This is stuff,
No, that's cool. That's a cool question. No, I wasn't driving the cab, and the cab wasn't riding. That was all CGI, and it was shot in on a soundstage. What happened was the great part of that was, the only part of the cab that I was driving was there's an establishing shot where the cab pulls in to a motel into the parking lot. That was the only time I was driving the cab, and that was the only time the cab was real. It was just that establishing shot of me driving it to the motel, and then you see snow around all under the parking lot. But the scene inside the cab was shot on a soundstage with me and John Hughes, John Candy, and Steve Martin and me, and some crewmen who were running past with bushes and lights. They would run around the cab. What they did was the cab was just a shell. There wasn't a real cab. I mean, it was a real cab shell. Just the inside, there's no motor in it. It was just a covering, a car covering. And it was up on boxes. There was no wheels on it. I guess four guys at each end could have carried it around. It was just the molded shell of the cab, and the inside was just really decorated well. The inside was a work of art. I don't know if they show it well in the movie, but that was, I got my character from the inside of the cab. Whoever designed that cab, it was like a Mexican motif, and it was just pictures of, just Mexican stuff, memorabilia, photos, newspaper things, all over the cab, on the ceiling, on the dashboard, everywhere. It was just pasted. Somebody did a real cool job of, Doobie's Taxiola. So that's where I got my character from. And they just had two cameras, one shooting the two guys in the back from kind of the side or maybe the front. There was no window. It was just clear, empty. So one on me from the side, and John Hughes sat on a wooden box. In movie terms, there's quarter boxes, half boxes, and full boxes, and basically all they are wooden boxes with an opening for a hand to hold it, so you could carry around. And you order one. You say, "Hey, give John a full box to sit outside the cab." So he had a full box right outside the passenger seat, front passenger seat, and he would give us instructions through the open window of the passenger side, on the front seat. But and we did the scene, and the movie that you see is the scene that was written. It's 3 pages long, and we memorized it, and we just did it, and that took 2 takes. Maybe 4 takes, 2 takes on me, 2 takes for the 2 guys in the back, and they just cut it together. Okay. And then, so that took like, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours to shoot that in the morning. And then he said, okay, now we're going to improvise. John Hughes says this. Now, we weren't even ready for that. We didn't know that. And we were all alone on this sound stage. And so what he did was, and this is the amazing thing about John Hughes, he's got an amazing photographic memory that is just unbelievable, man. We were improvising. Now, John Candy is a dyed-in-the-wool improviser. Second City, I mean, he's in it for years. He knows what's going on. I was in it for 10 years, the committee and Second City. And Steve Martin is just an amazing genius. I don't know if he's ever been in improv, but he was the best improviser I've ever seen or been with or on stage with. He's amazing, man. The guy's just open, So that
he's hilarious.
It's one thing to be hilarious. It's another thing to improvise and be hilarious off the top of your head when you don't know it's coming at you. I mean, he just was boom. So we did that for a little while, We said, okay. John Hughes would have us improvise. I mean, he had a mathematical way of doing it. He would say, okay, now we're going to improvise. So John and Steve, you stick to the script. Larry, you improvise your part. Okay, go. And we were just hung out to dry. I mean, we had to just go. There's 2 cameras going, and then he would go, and then when we finally, herky-jerky our way through but you see, he understood that it doesn't matter the flow of what you're photographing, what you're filming, because they get pieces and then they edit it together. So it doesn't matter that you could go, in the middle of a scene. They just cut around that. I mean, so the takeaway from improv or making movies is you can't be bad. You can screw up. You can forget your lines. You can improvise. It doesn't matter because, it matters for the people you're working with. They don't like you to fuck up. But it doesn't matter in the editing room because they just cut around it. And if you're really awful, they just cut away from you and use your voice. Then they photograph somebody else while you're talking voiceover.